Good day, goeiedag, fellow South Africans, and in this interview with a fellow South African historian, Booyens, who has a slightly different slant because my main interest is on the Griqua people and their history, but he raises two very interesting points which I have been pressing in all these videos. And the first one is that Cyril Ramaphosa, the whole reason he took over from Zuma was because he said he would ensure that land expropriation without compensation would happen. Okay, so he actually, that was part of his entry into being president of South Africa. And of course we know that he denied that recently in America, and I'll put the link down below where I've made an appeal to President Trump. And the second thing he raises, which is also 100% correct, is that when the settlers arrived in the Cape in 1652, the nearest Bantu tribe was over 700 miles to the east in what is now the bottom end of KwaZulu-Natal. There were no Bantu anywhere west of Lesotho. And he explains why. And I'm not going to tell you the reason. You can listen for yourself, and it makes perfect sense. All right, guys, enjoy the video, and please remember to tell your friends about it, and please subscribe to be kept informed. Okay, have a lovely day. Bye for now.
So we're here at the Red Pill Expo with Dr. Harry Booyens. Dr. Harry Booyens is an author who wrote what I think is the defining historical book on the history of South Africa. Dr. Booyens, thank you very much for being with us. So tell us a little bit about your book and why you decided to write it.
Well, there's a long version and a short version of it. The short version would be that I was very outraged about the farm murders happening already back in 2006, and decided that the one thing I knew how to do is, as a scientist, I'm used to digging up facts, putting them in good order, and then presenting them in what the British would call Queen's English. And so I try to do exactly that with this subject. And I realized I would have to hold people's attention for a very long story, because it's 630 pages. It is the whole history of South Africa. And so I included basically my and my wife's ancestry in this, so that I would have real live people at the particular events to have a human interest in the exercise. But it fundamentally came back down to the idea that it's an outrage what is happening to the farmers in South Africa. They are living every day of their lives in abject terror.
And so is the situation getting better? Is it getting worse? And what do Americans need to know about what's happening there right now? Americans
need to know that the President of South Africa, the new president, Cyril Ramaphosa, is a gentleman who got the new job as president on the basis of having promised that he would expropriate white farmers' land without compensation. And I need those words to sink in with Americans. Expropriation without compensation.
Well, I mean, they tell us, if you believe the fake news, that the white people stole all the land. I know you've done some extensive work on this topic. Tell us about whether that's true.
That's rubbish. The simplest way of explaining that is that one can draw a simple line through the middle of South Africa. And to the west of that line, you have less than 350 millimeters of rain in summer in a year, and to the east of it you have more than 350. That's the magic number you need for tall grass. And you need the grass if you want to keep cows, and the cows are there for the milk, and the black South African people's culture is completely based on milk. Without the 350 millimeters rain, they wouldn't have been able to exist. So just looking at the way God made the planet already tells you they could not have owned the whole South Africa. In reality, when the Dutch arrived in 1652, and my ancestors settled there. The nearest African black people to Cape Town was 700 miles away at what is now the southern border of the Natal province.
Wow, so it's a little bit of the history that you're not going to get from the fake news. Dr. Booyens, there's a lot of different proposed solutions. People are talking about, where do we go from here? Should we split up the country? Do we need to redesign the Constitution? What do you think is the solution for the crisis that's affecting South Africa now in a way that will work for everybody, a peaceful solution?
Well, we have a situation where the present government has basically tried to gain voters by inciting the uneducated masses of ordinary, decent black folks. They have incited them against white people to a degree where I am not convinced it's possible to come to any kind of a reasoned, negotiated solution with anything that looks like the current ANC government. So if that government is brought down by some or other legal means, there may be a chance to talk. But as long as it holds the commanding majority that it does, I'm afraid I think the only way this could work is for the west of the country to secede. I just do not see another solution unless serious pressure is brought to bear, particularly by the United States, on the government of South Africa to stop these outrages of national presidents dancing on stage singing "Kill the Whites" and leaders of black political parties openly screaming from a stage, "Kill the farmers, kill the Boer." It's outrageous. Where else on earth do you hear stuff like that? And where is the media?
Yeah, it really is. As somebody who's in the media, someone who's lived in South Africa, the media is just a disgrace, unfortunately, as you know very well. So you're going to be talking here. We're at the Red Pill Expo. A lot of leading conservatives, people in the liberty movement here. What are you going to be telling people about your homeland?
Well, I must confess that I guess I'm a seriously odd fish in a strange piece of water for me. But my picture is I have 30 minutes to tell folks that something seriously bad is wrong down there. And my opening line basically is, I'm here, freshly back from the future, and you don't want to go there.
Very good. Dr. Booyens, where can people buy your book, Amabulu? And tell us real quick, the birth and death of the Second America. Why do you call it the Second America? And where can people get this fantastic book?
Oh, well, it wasn't I who called it the Second America. I just stole what I thought was a great line. It was the commander, actually it was Nelson's boss, the famous Nelson. His boss was commander at Cape Town in 1797, and he committed to paper the statement, forgive me if I can't quote it exactly correctly verbatim, but something along the lines of, if as this place got bigger and the people more numerous, it would simply turn into a second America and would in time steal India from us, which would be from the British. And he said that because the Cape had played such a major role in the United States independence. The French and the Brits had both raced for the Cape during the War of Independence, the US War of Independence, and the French won essentially that effort and occupied the Cape, thereby denied essentially the high seas to the Brits, and therefore could help the United States, could help America. And so no Cape Town, no French garrison meant no winning of your war. And so the pain and the suffering on the part of the Brits in the wake of that meant that they were never going to allow anybody else to take the Cape again. And so when they got, in 1795, when the French went back to war with them, they rushed for the Cape and made sure they controlled it this time. Hence the Second America, because the Brits called it the Second America, still smarting from the effects of the first.
And so where do people get your book?
The simplest way to get the book and the blog and any of the stuff on this subject is to enter the following simple words either into Google or into Amazon, and that is AMABHULU, Amabulu, which is the name of Nelson Mandela's Amaxhosa people for us, the white Boer farmers, Amabulu. Just put the word in there and it will deliver.